Hello and welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something huge, a topic that's practically a national obsession in India, the UPSC Civil Services exam. You know, the gateway to becoming an IAS, IPS, or IFS officer. We're going to break down exactly how this whole thing works. People often call it the Mount Everest of exams, and you know what? They're not wrong. The sheer scale of it, the competition, it can feel like a totally impossible climb. But like any big climb, the first thing you need is a good map. And that's what we're here to give you today, a clear, step-by-step guide to this epic journey. So how is this monster of an exam actually structured? Well, it's not just one big test, not even close. It's a grueling, three-stage quest that's specifically designed to whittle down over 1 million applicants to just a handful of successful candidates. The best way to picture it is like a pyramid. You start with a massive base of people, which gets narrowed down to a much smaller middle, and then finally a tiny little peak at the top. Our journey starts at stage 1, the preliminary exam, or as everyone calls it, prelims. You have to understand its one and only job is to be a massive filter. It's there to screen out the huge number of applicants and just select a more manageable group for the really intensive part of the exam that comes next. So on a single day, every single candidate sits for 2 papers, one right after the other. They're both multiple choice. The first is called General Studies, and the second is the Civil Services Aptitude Test, or CSAT. But here's where it gets really interesting. They're not treated the same way at all. Okay, this is probably the most critical thing to get about this first stage. Your entire chance of moving on, of getting to the next round, depends only on your score in Paper 1, the General Studies one. That's the one that determines your rank. Paper 2, the CSAT, is just a hurdle you have to clear. You pass it or you don't. The actual score you get doesn't matter for your ranking. So, what is in this super important general studies paper? Well, to put it simply, kind of everything. It's a huge snapshot of India and the world. We're talking current affairs, history, geography, the economy, how the government works, environmental issues, general science. The sheer breadth of it is just staggering. It's designed to test your all-around awareness. And for that second paper, the CSAT, this is the magic number, 33%. That's the minimum you have to score. And let me be clear, you could get a world record-breaking score in the general studies paper. But if you don't get 33% on CSAT, you're out, instantly. It's a non-negotiable gateway. So, you've cleared prelims. First off, congratulations. But now the real test begins. Welcome to Stage 2, the main examination. I call it the mains marathon because that's exactly what it feels like. It's a 9-paper, long-form written exam. This isn't about just knowing facts anymore. It's about endurance, deep analysis, and how well you can build an argument under immense pressure. Let's break down this 9-paper beast. Now, just like in prelims, not all of them are counted for your final rank. The first 2, one paper in an Indian language of your choice, and another in English, are just qualifying papers. You just have to pass them. The real contest, the score that matters, comes from the other 7. A big essay paper, 4 incredibly dense general studies papers, and 2 papers on an optional subject you get to choose yourself. And believe me, the stakes for those first 2 language papers are sky high. You absolutely must get at least 25% in both of them. If you don't, your other 7 papers, all that hard work you poured into the essays, the general studies, your specialized subject, they won't even be looked at. It's another one of those critical all-or-nothing gates. So those 7 merit papers are the absolute core of this whole process. It all kicks off with an essay paper. Then you have 4 separate general studies papers that go incredibly deep into everything from India's history and geography to its system of governance and foreign policy, all the way to its economy, security challenges, and even an entire paper dedicated to ethics and integrity. Right. So what is this optional subject? This is where you actually get to play to your own strengths. From a massive list provided by the UPSC, you pick one specialized subject. It could be anything: history, sociology, physics, law, animal husbandry, you name it. The catch is you need to know it at a really high level, like an honors degree, and you'll be tested on it across 2 full papers. Okay, so if you somehow survive the mains marathon, you get called for the final and most personal stage of the exam, the interview. But its official name is the personality test, and that name tells you everything you need to know. This is not a simple quiz. It's a carefully guided conversation designed to see if you really have the character and temperament to be a civil servant. I mean, think about it. The board already knows you're smart. You've proved that by getting through mains. So, if they're not there to test your knowledge again, then what exactly is this all about? What are they really trying to find out? They're trying to assess the actual person sitting in that chair. They're looking for all those crucial traits that you can't really test on paper. Things like mental alertness when you're under pressure, clear and logical thinking, and a sense of balanced judgment. And they go even deeper, probing for things like moral integrity, leadership skills, and just a genuine interest in the world and society around you. It's a total assessment of your fitness for a career in public service. So after you've gone through the prelims filter, the mains marathon, and the personality test, how is that final rank actually decided? It all boils down to a pretty simple calculation, using your scores from the last two stages. Your final score is the sum of just two things. First, the written mains exam. That carries an enormous weight, 1,750 marks. Then, you add the score from your personality test, or interview, which is worth 275 marks. And the prelim score? It's gone. Forgotten. Its only job was to get you to this point. And that brings the grand total to 2,025 marks. Your final rank, the one that decides your entire career, is based on your score out of this total. In a race this close, you can imagine that every single mark is absolutely critical. So there you have it. We've mapped out the entire incredible journey, a 3-stage gauntlet that tests your knowledge, your endurance, and your very character. It kind of leaves you with a big final question to think about, doesn't it? After someone dedicates years of their life to conquering this mountain of an exam, what is the ultimate responsibility that waits for them at the top? What does it truly mean to serve?